Most of us are guilty of having put certain people on pedestals at some point in our life. It provides us with a simplicity and a sense of safety that we first encountered in our childhood, where there were clear good guys and bad guys. There were the dangerous enemies incarnating pure evils on one side, and on the other side, you had the perfectly, unwaveringly good heroes. Having to accept that everyone, in fact, is a certain shade of gray rather than entirely black or white when you grow up, that's really hard, because that means that there's not a single person on this earth that cannot hurt you to some extent, willingly or unwillingly. And that is terrifying. The tendency to put people on pedestals where these people can then do no wrong or say no wrong, that's something that people do when they have self-esteem issues. Because when you're going through a period of low self-esteem and you look around, anything anyone does that is remotely good just seems amazing compared to how mediocre or how much of a fraud you are in your head. And therefore, it's very easy for you to put people on pedestals. Also, when things seem very chaotic and messy, both in your own life and just in the world around you, it feels very reassuring to just have people to look up to and to tell yourself that some people just have it all figured out and it's going to be okay. Because that would imply that 1, there are answers to all the questions in life. 2, it is then possible for humans to acquire said answers. And 3, accordingly, it just makes sense for those humans to just bear all the big responsibilities and hold the power. Let's start with the tendency to put people that you see in real life or that you love on a pedestal. There are 3 main issues when you do that. First of all, when you put someone that you actually know and that you're close to and that you're attached to on a pedestal, your relationship is bound to be very unstable, and you're also going to be in a constant state of hypervigilance regarding this relationship in regards to them, which is just going to take a really big catastrophic toll on your relationship, but also just your health, like your mind and your body. For many, unfortunately, this is, once again, a trauma response. Some people, when you were growing up, treated you in hurtful ways and in ways that adults should never treat children. If you're lucky, you had 1 or maybe even 2 adults that at certain times were able to give you that love and safety that you so desperately needed. And in those moments, those people would become heroes in your story and in your life, in this world full of demons that despised your very existence. Consequently, you developed a survival mechanism of black or white thinking, whereby these people that have given you love and safety go on a sacred pedestal, and you repeat that pattern with everyone you get attached to. In your reality, these people become the rare people in front of whom you don't have to always carry that super heavy shield to protect yourself and wear those masks. But the moment they act in ways that doesn't fit the pedestal, all hell breaks loose. Any human living like this is actually deep down living in a constant state of stress and fear, even though they might not actually know why or realize it at all. When one of your precious, rare, precious pedestal people upsets you, there's 2 things that can happen. The first one is you can either immediately just see red, they become a bad guy within your black and white reality, and they need to disappear from your life. Or in certain cases, when you don't go that route and you don't cut them off, what happens is that actually you build up a lot of unexpressed, repressed anger and frustration, and that's pretty much, it's just as unhealthy. Because in your perception of reality, these people are on pedestals, and so they can do no wrong. And so you're feeling frustration and you're feeling anger sometimes, which just happens in human relationships. But because your subconscious mind cannot even realize what's happening, then it's going to project all of those negative feelings onto other things and try to attribute it to other causes in your life in very destructive ways. Also, whenever you do feel negatively about one of your pedestal people, your subconscious mind is going to transmute that into shame. How dare you feel upset at them? What kind of person feels negatively about a loved one after all the kindness that they have given someone like you? something is seriously wrong for you to have such thoughts and feelings. After having given yourself that spicy dose of shame, you end up hating yourself even more. You feel unbearable guilt every time you feel negatively against one of your precious pedestal people. And that just leads to the second issue with putting people you know on pedestals, which is self-distrust. Putting people on pedestals, by definition, means that you have a tendency to believe that certain people's opinions will just automatically be above yours in a way that is irrefutable and unchangeable. This leads you to a dangerous downward spiral and a vicious cycle whereby you will always blindly trust these people's opinions over yours. This then inevitably weakens your ability to trust your intuition and just have faith and confidence in forming opinions on your own. Because of that, the gap between you and those pedestal people will only widen, and then the pedestal will just get higher and higher and higher. The truth is, you do not need to put anyone on a pedestal to love them or admire them or look up to them. Quite the contrary. But it's important for you to learn how to at least consider your thoughts and your opinions on an equal footing to anyone else. I don't care if these people are older or wiser or have more credentials or are smarter or more experienced in any way. Just because they are excellent at certain things in life, it does not mean that they are all good or all knowing. This is the whole problem with dogma, which is a form of pedestal, whereby the information coming from certain sources that are now deemed sacred becomes absolutely irrefutable. That is almost never the case, and history has shown time and time again how dangerous that can be. This tendency is also what makes you feel imposter syndrome whenever you arrive at a place in life where you are now surrounded by people that you put on pedestals. The imposter syndrome comes from the very fact that there is a cognitive dissonance taking place. Because how could it be? This place is filled with pedestal people, i.e., superior people. Yet, here I am, and I know myself, this flawed, imperfect being that I am. I must be the odd one out. There was a survey actually conducted in Harvard University, which proved that a crazy percentage of Harvard students actually have imposter syndrome. And that is precisely because we have been told since we were little kids that Harvard is this place where these incredible, superior people go. It's obviously normal and necessary and useful and helpful to respect, admire, and look up to certain people. But what I'm saying is just do not automatically always put certain people's thoughts and opinions above yours and above other people's, and never think that someone can never be wrong. And the more you practice taking people off pedestals, you're actually going to enter a virtuous cycle, if you will, because it's going to strengthen your trust in yourself. It's going to strengthen your intuition. And it's also going to help you train that critical analysis muscle, which is truly, maybe it's the one thing that will save humanity against AI, but we'll see. It's a race right now. The last issue regarding the pedestals in this category is that pedestals lead to a lot of internalized hatred within most social groups. For instance, we as small children all put our parents on pedestals. That is something that is hardwired for us, and it helps us with survival. As such, when the family is dysfunctional in any way, the they don't even know that they're doing this, obviously, but what they're going to do is that they're going to project all of that hurt onto the person who's their equal, aka their siblings. On a much larger scale, there is internalized misogyny. Within a patriarchal system, men, but more importantly, masculinity, which are two distinct things, are put on a pedestal as opposed to femininity and women. This results in severe internalized misogyny, where women just come to hate femininity as well because they keep being punished for it. And this is why the term pick-me was coined. A pick-me is a woman who puts men on a pedestal, and she feels a lot of internalized shame for her femininity, and therefore she ends up shaming anyone who truly displays very outwardly their femininity as well. Men who are also affected by the pedestalization of masculinity. I know that's not a word, but they do this amongst themselves too. This is evidenced by the use of words such as sissy and pussy and gay and bitch as slurs and insults, whereby the possession of such feminine traits is seen as the ultimate shame. It's absolutely insane. Like, I remember, as far as I can remember, in the schoolyard at recess, which is like elementary school, boys have been using that as an insult. Like, and they weren't born knowing that. It's scary. In the real world, this manifests, for instance, as women, when their man who has an exclusive relationship with them cheats on them, they end up hating on the woman like 100 times more, and a lot of them end up actually forgiving the man. Similarly, it also leads to the infamous boy moms, which are moms who deeply and just unconditionally favor their sons, creating daughters who learn to absolutely hate their own femininity because it is the very reason why they were not worthy of the same love. And the problem with pedestals is that it is not natural. The very fact that masculinity is just an energy and it's put on a pedestal when normally masculinity and femininity are meant to work in tandem, they are meant to thrive in a symbiotic relationship, that leads to an imbalance that creates a lot of violence, abuse, and trauma. By the way, it is not a coincidence that many of these world leaders, historically or even today, the authoritarian ones who are responsible for many of the world's atrocities and wars, all have this belief that masculinity should be put on a pedestal. It might be the death of us. I hope not. The exact same thing goes for anything. It goes for internalized fat phobia. It goes for internalized homophobia. It goes for internalized racism. Idealizing and putting on a pedestal any random human trait, thereby lowering the value of all of its alternatives, is so unnatural, and it always leads to catastrophic consequences. Imagine if dogs lived like this. Like, imagine if the Chihuahua was the gold standard of dogs, and every other breed that we all love very much, therefore, was seen as lower. And if they lived like humans, like every other breed would just self-destruct in some way, shape, or form, and it would be tragic. The other big type of pedestal, and it's probably the one that is the most socially acceptable, actually constructed even by society, it is the one that we put celebrities, singers, dancers, actors, comedians, influencers, artists of any type, and athletes on. In many countries, celebrities are also called stars, and in countries such as Japan and Korea, they are called idols. That very nomenclature is problematic because it forces you, even before you know who these people are, to put them on a pedestal, to idolize them, to see them as these celestial, literally stars, superior beings that deserve more of your attention and your adoration and your money, and that you need to judge differently than the average person. And listen, I completely understand. It's human nature. One of the most timeless quotes that I love regarding this aspect of human nature is, and I paraphrase, "People don't remember what you said or what you did, but they will forever remember how you made them feel." In the case of celebrities, just think about it. Actors, singers, athletes, dancers, authors, comedians, through their acting, their singing, their writing, their physical prowess, their voice, their sense of humor, they're all able to make you feel such strong feelings, existential feelings, and feelings that words just fail to convey. Accordingly, it is absolutely normal to form a subconscious bond with them because their talents have made you feel alive and feel seen in ways that almost no one could. It doesn't help that capitalism and the entire entertainment industry works very hard to strengthen that subconscious bond and association to coerce you to spend as much money as possible. And so they quite literally shape these celebrities both mentally and physically through media training, various cosmetic enhancements, PR training, so that these people just become your perfect celebrities and they become these impossibly good-looking, charismatic, and attractive and lovable people. That's also why, and I'll make a whole other video about that, which will probably be a little bit controversial, but I definitely separate the art and the artist. But that's for another time. The fact that we are governed very much by our feelings and emotions and the way things and people make us feel is also strongly evidenced by how heartbroken we are when one of our favorite comedians is found out to be not a very good person or having acted in very harmful ways. And that is because laughter is one of the most powerful, healing, positive feelings in the world for humans. Hospitals around the world are increasingly looking at and resorting to laughter therapy because laughter, I don't know why, I have to do more research on it, but when you laugh, it has been proven that it has a very beneficial effect on your whole body, like all of your cells. Spend a whole hour watching someone make you laugh and you'll see how you feel afterwards. And this is why comedians are beloved by all of us, or most of us at least, and why it is earth-shattering and world-shattering and reality-shattering when one of our favorite ones turns out to be, a bad person. And humor, as beneficial as it is, like I just said, be careful because it's also a very dangerous weapon because it works the other way around. It can also make you forgive or be a little bit less harsh on someone who's bad and incompetent and an asshole, but who then turns out to be very funny and make you laugh. That is definitely something that has been weaponized in politics in the past couple of years, especially, and with the internet. And it is something that will be increasingly used in campaigns by politicians. So just be careful, because I recently listened to an interview with this comedian, Gianmarco Soresi, and he was saying the same thing. He was saying, if you recommend me a doctor and I ask you if he's good and you tell me if he's funny, that's not useful or helpful to me in any ways in that situation. And you need to think the same thing about politicians. Like, they can be funny and nobody's taking away the fact that they're funny, but that doesn't mean that they need to be your president, okay? And that doesn't mean that it's okay when they do horrible things. I'm not talking about the US specifically. This is very much all around the world that is happening. Back to our dear pedestals. If tomorrow you give me the most insane talent for acting or for singing, I will still very much have all the flaws that I currently have, but somehow magically, if we follow people's logic, it won't really matter that much anymore. Why would people who just happen to act well or sing well or play a sport really well, why are they held to different standards and they are given so much more lenience and money and praise and success than, for instance, people who heal us or educate us? It seems a bit unfair. But also, in a completely different way, the problem with pedestals, and that goes back to what we were saying in the beginning with the black and white thinking, these celebrities are also held, especially in Asia, oh my God, to impossible standards. And so they are on these pedestals, but if anything comes out to the public and if there's any trace of them being an imperfect human, they are burned at the stake. And that is equally unfair. And that is why pedestals by nature, it's a very dehumanizing thing to do, to put someone on a pedestal. Now, I'm not telling you, please don't misunderstand, to not love celebrities. Like, I'm the first one to say that beautiful art and art that I like in every shape or form, it is one of my biggest gratitudes in this messy, chaotic life. And sometimes I find the artist associated to that art, sometimes, but I find them to be very likable and I just like what they appear to stand for. And so I will follow them for a little while. All I'm saying is to not put them on this pedestal where you don't hold them to the same standards. So either you look away when they do things or you attribute like more qualities to them just because they can sing well or act well. But also, like, don't completely see red and burn them at the stake whenever they make a mistake as well. That is a mistake that most people around you have done and you've seen it. All in all, it's just best to consider every single human on this earth, celebrities included, as imperfectly perfect humans who are full of qualities and flaws. And no amount of money, charisma, or talent or beauty will change that. And we will see why that is for the best. Okay, let's kind of change the tone because until now, admittedly, I've been quite negative. So let's talk about some positive incentives for getting rid of pedestals, despite how scary it might seem at first. And I say scary, yes, because none of us put people on pedestals ever because we're bad people. It's just that we need that sense of safety and love and simplicity that we are in dire need for. Accepting that every single person on this earth is bound to hurt you or at the very least disappoint you in some way, that's terrifying, especially if you have deep childhood wounds. But you are not a helpless child anymore. Never forget that. That's your inner child talking to you. But what you are now is a resourceful and resilient survivor. So if anyone really tries to fuck with you now, it's time to become that hero and become that protector and defender that you didn't have at the time. It's going to be hard and scary at first, but every time you're going to do it slowly but surely, like baby steps with a lot of failures along the way, you know the shtick. But as you do it, every time you'll successfully do it, the bliss you will feel, you'll never go back. I promise you. Now, the biggest reward you will receive once you make the effort of breaking down your pedestals is that for the first time ever, you will actually experience genuine, healthy love. It is the love that people talk about when they talk about unconditional love. It is the one where two people truly see each other, they see all the flaws, they see all the qualities, and then they actively choose to love each other without the need to change anything in each other. And it is your right to also choose to see someone's flaws and be like, not for me. And that's okay. But only when you show your entire self, flaws and everything, will you be able to attract people who genuinely want to love you for you. And the same thing goes for them. Like, you have to take them off this pedestal and you have to let them be an entire person with a bunch of imperfections so that you guys can truly love each other in this very real, genuine way. And as you embark upon this journey, that's going to be very long and complicated. One thing that you should never forget is to always have your back. Even when you mess up, even when you go back to old ways, even when you fail sometimes with the pedestal removal, it's okay. Just always have your back. And that way you will get back up so much easier and you will just get back on the battlefield. And remember, if you put people on pedestals, you are the problem. Whether it's a celebrity, an influencer, someone you see in real life, someone that you love, you do not truly love that person if you put them on a pedestal. You are using them for selfish reasons. Someone on a pedestal is being used as your safe space. They are, in many ways, an escape from reality, which is why you feel a lot of anger and resentment once they show some imperfections and they show that they are actually a part of the reality that you are not willing to fully face. And as a result, pedestals are truly dehumanizing, even though that's not your intention. So yes, I hate to say it, this is one of those situations where you're like, I'm the problem. And when I say you're selfish and you're the problem, please don't take it the wrong way. I'm just saying that because the entire reason why I made this video is because this used to be me. People who are hurt in any way often act in selfish ways because they just lack the vital sense of safety and love that you need to really be stable in this world. And that's okay, that's normal. Sadly, I would say a majority of us are like that to some extent. But what's important is for you to realize that and to take action at your own pace and just get moving. As a last motivator for you to embark on this scary journey, you need to understand that every human needs healthy love. Not any type of love, healthy love. And it is actually a vital need. Accordingly, when you are only able to give and attract unhealthy or at least incomplete forms of love, it will never feel like enough. You will feel unfulfilled and you won't know why, which will once again make you blame it on a bunch of other crap and make you believe that it's because you're not successful, rich, attractive, smart enough, or that you are too much of something, like just nonsense. The truth is, love is when two people look at each other and are like, I see you and I love you, free from expectations, free from control, free from projections, and free from pedestals. And if ever you're worried about, oh, but how am I gonna know for sure when I have it? You'll know. You'll know. You will just see the quality of your life in every single area improve, and that will be your proof of how vital, healthy, and complete love is. And don't worry, I don't care how young or old you are, it's never too late. You have your entire life to become someone who can give and receive that type of love. At least now you know which direction to move in, and that is a huge, huge feat. All right, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye.